This topic is creativity. I have a good one. Drew is very creative. I'm not going to talk about exactly what he's creative in. I'm going to let him talk about that. But as a marketing manager and proposal writer for Baker Tilly, he has to demonstrate a lot of creativity in his approach to writing and being a marketer. And in his career, he's demonstrated both personally and professionally many creative ways to go about things. So I'm going to let him kind of dive deeper into the creativity part.
Thanks, Caleb. So, in terms of creativity, for me, it has a couple of different outlets. So there's the professional aspect where I write proposals, and I'm trying to reach out to clients to bring their business into our accounting firm. And in that sense, I really have to be creative every time I write a proposal, thinking outside the box, thinking what's going to connect to that client, thinking, who specifically is going to be reading this document and how I can kind of, I hate using phrases like this, but essentially you're tricking their brain, how I can trick their brain, how I can kind of manipulate their brain into really liking our, the services that we offer, which is essentially what you're doing when you write proposals. And so creativity can take a lot of forms in that. It can be, literally right off the bat, you're putting a picture on the cover and you're hoping that, you work with the graphic designer to come up with a cover that you think will kind of resonate with that company. And then it goes all the way through to the very last page when you really try to pull every trick in the book that you learned as a writer to really manipulate their mind kind of creatively.
Sure. So, and what we're talking about is writing, right? Mm-hmm. And being creative as a writer, we talked about it in another segment, persuasive, right? But being creative as a writer doesn't just mean, coming up with phrases or coming up with things that help, manipulate or exploit something. What's that process for you? How do you come up with the creative angle to writing?
Well, it begins by researching the company, and you really have to understand how to attack a company creatively. You have to understand exactly what the company is, what they do, and obviously you have to understand who our company is and what we do. And then once you understand the key pieces, it's just like anything that's creative in life. It's like putting together a puzzle,
right.
Or whether it's writing music or whatever. Everyone has their own individual creative, ways that they are individually creative. So for me, it's writing. So for me, you just take those different pieces and you have to figure out the way to put them all together to kind of make it make sense and to help your message get through to whoever the reader is.
Sure. So this is your outlet profession. Let's talk a little bit more about just personally how you go about creative ways, whether it's an outlet like you mentioned, but what do you do in your personal?
So I'm a highly creative person. So even the kind of creativity that I just talked about, it's not even enough for me. Like my brain's not satisfied with that. So when I am, whether I'm at work, whether I'm at home, I need some other kind of creative outlet, something that really kind of quench my thirst, so to speak. So I use Facebook a lot for that. And to be honest, and I'm on Facebook a lot, I post a lot, I comment a lot, and that's my creative outlet. So to be totally honest, even if, let's say, my boss came up to me and said, oh, I noticed you're on Facebook a lot, I would feel comfortable telling her that, I'm happy with my job, I love my job, but as a creative person, I need a bigger outlet than that. I need to, keep my brain energized, keep my brain going, keep my brain interested. So Facebook, LinkedIn, a little bit on Twitter, these kind of things. And I do other kinds of writing too to help my, kind of creative juices get flowing. And these kind of things are important to me to really help me kind of stay balanced creatively.
Yeah. So I think an interesting thing here is finding that, right? Mm-hmm. So let's go back to all those years, uncover that when you didn't either know Facebook had those capabilities or you never utilized them. Maybe that's a better way to say it. But what do you tell students who might go to their job and not feel mentally stimulated in a creative way or mentally stimulated in, another way? How do they go about finding this?
Yeah, it's a good question. There are a lot of different ways you can do it. First of all, the average job is just, 8 hours a day. So that still leaves a pretty huge chunk of the day, whether, for you to go out and really find that creative outlet. For some people, it's, like I said, like playing games, playing puzzles. Having a phone now gives a lot of people a creative outlet because you can easily, be creative on your phone, whether it's games or whatever, on the way to and from work. Socially, I think social creativity is a big part of how I survive at work, and I know a lot of people do. So just joking around with people. I never view joking around at work as like any kind of negative. Like
Right.
that's an important part. Like the social creativity, the joking, the laughter, that helps keep the brain,
Right.
energized and fresh. So that's another way.
Sure. So we've talked about several ways to kind of instill creativity into your work, both personally and professionally. And I think, Drew does a good job of actually practicing what he preaches. So I would encourage you guys, whether you're at your internship or back at home or in classes, to find ways to express yourself creatively. And I think, Drew's mention of writing is just one avenue. There's many others. So that's what I would encourage you guys to do. And thank you, Drew.
You're welcome.